Ladies and gentlemen, you can continue to eat. I mean, we're not going to ask you to stop eating. And if you've got your cake and dessert and so forth, have at it. But you have been mystically been transported to the studios of This Is Your Life. I would like now to introduce the Master of Ceremony, Ralph Edwards, otherwise known as Pastor Olin. Now, listen, Ralph, we don't want you to keep us in suspense.
Okay.
If you would tell us or reveal to us who the honored guest of This Is Your Life, we'd appreciate it.
It would be an honor and a pleasure. Born in Rockfield, Illinois on February 9th, 1943, an angel was born to Rosalie and Thane McIntyre. Angela Sheperd, this is your life. Let's start this out the right way. Okay. We always give flowers to the recipient, right? Right. So would you present lovely model Nancy? Give Miss Angela Sheperd the flowers, would you? Come on up into the seat of honor. It's yours, Angela Sheperd. She's ready.
Hold on, that's you. Just yeah.
All right, sit down so we can get the show on the road, young lady.
What's with the Kleenex?
I've seen the show. I know what happens. Have a seat, will you? All right, so here's how this is going to work, Angela. There's a microphone there for you, but we don't want you to use it. Okay. There you go. She's in the seat of honor, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for Angela Sheperd.
Woo-hoo!
This is not the $1.98 beauty contest. I'm not Rip Taylor, but I play one on TV. Here we go. Angela, there is only one person who is living who has been through this entire journey with you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Miss Mary Peelman.
Oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Did you see me?
Can you come through on it?
That's my granddaughter.
Let's do that. Come on through here. All right, so we're going to give you that. And let's see if Mary can get right through there. There you go. Look at that, everybody.
It's all her fault.
All right, here's another one that I know you can give a microphone. So you can trust Mary with a microphone, right? All right, come on through there. Beep, 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 beep. A little more. Now turn to the left. Mary Peelman, everybody.
Yay.
I've had the honor, and it's not on.
Sure.
Okay. I've had the honor to be there for her whole entire life. We've been separated at often times, but we always seem to come back together and enjoy one another's company, sort of. Yeah, you know what's going to happen after we're done here? She's going to get out in the car and give me a crack. You didn't tell me that this was going on. But yes, I've known her for all the time, and I really, our youth was different because we were born in Rockford, Illinois. But in 1956, my father, who had terrible arthritis, wanted to move us to Arizona. And we got into, we moved the whole family in a 1955 Chevrolet Bel Air two-door.
Wow.
With 3 huge kids in the back, a tent, as we tented. And we started from Rockford, Illinois to Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin, to see my aunt, to Ronabee, Minnesota, to see my grandmother. Then we went to South Dakota to see my cousins. Then we went all the way down to Texas to see my aunt. And every step of the way, she was wearing a white sailor hat. You don't remember? Yeah. And when we got down to Dallas, Texas, my cousin Angela, we have 7 Angelas in the Jan Quinto family. by the way.
7.
Yeah,
There's 8, actually, 8 Angelas in my family.
yeah.
Of my cousins, 8 Angelas.
Anyway, my Aunt Angie said to her, my mother, does she have lice? Why should she take that hat off? My mother said, she just thinks it's cute on her. And it was cute on her. But anyway, we went to Arizona and my dad could not find a job. So his cousin, Noel McIntyre, offered him a job and he lived in Fontana, California. We got in Fontana, California just before we were to go to school. My brother Thane and my sister Angela went to Fontana Junior High and I went to Fontana High School. And we were there, graduated, and my sister was very active in plays and music as I was, and madrigals and everything, you know, we did a lot of music. My father, when he and my mother got married, my mother was Catholic, and they went to the priest and wanted to be married at the Catholic Church, St. Anthony's. And the priest said, no, unless you decide to become Catholic. And my father said, no. And my mother said, my fiance is a very godly man. He reads the Bible. And the priest says, the devil reads the Bible. That's what he said. And he made my father sign a paper that we would be raised Catholic. But all the way on our trip, we sang Christian songs and harmonized and enjoyed ourselves. And it wasn't exactly teaching about Christianity, but it was, the seed was planted. Is that a good way of saying it?
Sure.
And so when we got there, my father, my mother decided that she was going to attend the Christian church. And the Christian church was on Riverside Avenue in Rialto, California at the Women's Club. And it so happened, just so happened, that her husband-to-be lived right behind the Women's Club. And he would come and he would be there and he was hitting on her all the time. But let me tell you, we had a couple other people that were.
Hitting on me?
Oh, well,
Is that what she
whatever,
said?
what terminology. we
I don't
use,
know.
Anyway,
What did they say back then?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Anyway, a beautiful Lucille Borden was there.
Oh, you're giving
And
away
a
the other secret.
handsome Wendell Bobo was there. And we have been friends since 1957, 56, something like that, when we first moved. So here we are together again. But one day, my dad said to me, now, Mary, everybody's going to the Christian church, but I'll take you to the Catholic church, because I was a very strong-willed in this particular area. I had made
Amen, sister.
I made my first communion in the Catholic church, and so I did not feel that it was right for me to just leave, you know? So my dad took me to the Catholic church, and he dropped me off, and they went to church. They went to Sunday school, they went to church, they went to fellowship after, and I'm standing there waiting for them. When are you coming back? Well, that got old, and finally I said, I'll just go with you guys. And I did. And I was very happy to do that, because one day my mother went forward and left Catholicism and became a Christian. And a few months later, I got up and went forward. And guess what? Behind me was my brother Thane and my sister Angela. And so we all got baptized at the Christian church in San Bernardino.
Okay, Mary, let me back up here because we've got some questions to ask you.
Oh.
First question that we have, was Angela warm? Was she nice or was she a brat? She's right there.
Yeah, she's gonna correct me. But
Remember you went forward.
You have to tell the truth.
Well, I have one story, I have to admit I was a tomboy. I played baseball with the boys, only girl. I did things tomboyish. But one day I happened to get allowance and I bought myself a fancy, I don't know if you remember them or see them, there was two big balls of rabbit balls. And then they were hooked together with a cord of velvet, okay? And she liked them. And she says, can I use these? And I said, heaven's sakes, no. So one little while later, here she comes down to me and she's going out the door and not with the sweater. And it had a big punch here and a big punch here. And I said, what do you got? She said, nothing. And I punched her and knocked her down. That was the end of that experiment.
All right,
So
so
is she a brat or not?
I think we can judge for ourselves. Okay, let me go back to 1939 though. We need to look at 1939. It's Rockford, okay? Dad is a farmer and he's a machinist, and mom's work, she owned a grocery store and she's a seamstress.
Not
Tell us about that.
Not a really that much, because I was born in 40. And at that time, they were starting the war. So my dad worked in a factory where he manufactured parts for the airplanes. So they would not let him enlist. He already had wartime jobs. So he stayed behind. And they both worked in factories, and we were home a lot with by ourselves. But my mom and dad didn't buy a grocery store till I was about, I'd say 12, 11 or 12. So we had that story. What is she doing?
She's looking at the pictures.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the store.
Yeah, that's our grocery store. We lived right across the street from it.
Across the street.
And guess what? We had to walk to school every day, not take the bus, because if we had lived on the side of the grocery store, we could have taken the bus and we could have had our lunch at school during the wintertime. And then we didn't have to walk home for lunch. But because we lived on the other side, we had to walk to school, and it was just a mile, and back for lunch and home. And we enjoyed that, didn't we, Angela?
So you guys had to fend for yourselves.
Yeah.
Dad wanted to move west to find work, so you got in the Chevy. You talked about that. You ended up here in Fontana, California. I got time for one last story. Mary, tell us about the Talent Scout.
Well, it actually wasn't a talent scout.
Tell me what it is.
Okay, we used to meet in churches in this area for a singspiration. And we would go to this church and that church and we would sing.
Not this one.
I don't like hearing it. Anyway, and one time we had a program where whoever won a contest from the church could go to Pepperdine College, and then we would maybe get a record recording if we wanted to get a record. Okay. So my friend Betty Foote, extraordinary pianist, encouraged us to do that. And we won the area, Southern California area. And we went to Pepperdine College and we won. And we got to make a record, and you're hearing it right now.
What you're hearing in the background is the three of you
Yeah.
singing together. Would you bring that volume up just a little bit? Just take a listen to the harmonies of brother and sisters. So what happened as a result of this?
My sister got married and had a baby. My brother got married and had a baby. And I was working on my credentials and degree at the college. So we did not accept the recording contract.
Can you sing that song?
Huh?
Can you sing that song?
I don't remember the words on it.
I bet you could.
Leave for heaven's city.
made a record.
I leave it all behind.
Yikes.
And
We're
let's
done.
not put
We're
these
done.
people
Okay,
in
good.
there.
Give them a hand, everybody.
I mean, my voice is not really what it used to was.
Thank you so much, Mary. Everybody give it up for Mary Peelman.
Thank you.
Yes, I did know about
I knew you were some sort
5
of
minutes or
mistake.
so.
You were gonna do something amazing. There you go.
All right, next we're gonna call on one who has been at Angela's side down through her adventurous life. Number 2, would you announce your presence?
Mom has always been an encouragement to those around her.
Gina Thatcher, come on out.
What?
Gina.
Oh my gosh. You might need it.
Now, Gina, I take it that you love your mother. I take it, I've seen it. And then she's
My
always
daughter
been,
Gina, my eldest.
I take it she's always been a mentor to you, Gina. Can you tell us about that?
Oh, yes. My mom, she's always had plenty to say. And she's always been involved in everything. You know, if the church door was open, she was there. You know, and she knew everybody. And so she was very, very busy in her growing up life as our family, my growing up life, I should say. Weren't you?
I guess so.
Yes. She was very involved in the church. Ministry was very important to her. We were at the church all the time. If the door was open, we were there. She was involved in music. Her family was very musical. She played the piano. So she would play the piano for our children's choir. She would lead the adult choir. She led music on Sunday morning and Sunday night. We used to have church on Sunday night.
Yeah.
So we had Sunday morning and Sunday night. We had family night. She was there, you know, and taught Sunday school. And potlucks, she always had to bring something to the
Oh, we
potluck.
always had to have a potluck.
Always had a potluck, always had to bring something. And she was a stay-at-home mom, so she cooked for us all the time. So we never went out to the restaurants. We never got, you know, fast food or anything like that. She cooked for us, which wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing at all. So, but she even, she was a stay-at-home mom. I think I said that. I'm not sure. My memory is like, yeah, not very good since COVID, but she even served at our school. You know, she did a lot of classroom things and served as the PTA president. So they had carnivals, you know, that she would plan and participate in and such. So she was a
Hold
busy,
this for
busy
a
gal.
second. I gotta tell Brooklyn that we gotta
Yes,
leave.
she was a busy gal.
I believe you.
Yes. And so with that, early on in our church life, we had a group of churches in the Inland Empire in Southern California that we associated with. We would do hymn sings on Sunday evenings. We would go to each other's churches and have all kinds of activities and such. One thing was that they started a Christian camp for kids. They thought, we got to get these kids to do something. The experience at camp was wonderful for children. It's a great environment, great ministry. And so, you know, my mom, she always cooked. And so they asked her, would you be the cook if we did these camps? What do you think she would say?
Yeah.
Yes. So for 3 weeks out of the summer, we would go to camp. My mom would cook. We would have, you know, 1 week for the elementary age kids, 1 week for the junior high, and 1 week for the high school. And so my dad would come and he would maintain the camp and everything that needed to be done, fixed, you know, repaired, replaced, you know, kept up, he would do. And so that's what we did for a lot of the years of my growing up. We did Christian camp. And so that's how she got into cooking for more than just the family and the potluck. So, but when she started that, she always had this little dream, you know, of owning a restaurant. So, you know, that part came, but she did a lot of.
That was a mistake. Yeah, it was.
So with that, we worked at, the first camp that we went to was Pacific Pines in Crestline. It was a cute little camp. We had lots of kids. And then we moved the camp to Camp Good News. And it's now called Pine Mountain, I believe. It's on Highway 38 in Barton Flats. And so we started going there at our camping days. And yes, they met a man named John Lane. He was the camp director of that camp. And the camp was through the Baptist Church on the Boulevard. It was called Ukiah Baptist Church at that time. And now it's called Grace Point. Yes, Grace Point. So he was employed there by that camp, by the church, to run the camp. And so we did take a job. My dad quit his railroad job that he had for more than 20 years and went into Christian camping, thought that that's what the Lord was leading us to do. So we moved our family from Ukiah. We had only lived here like 1 year. And we moved to Barton Flats and we lived at the camp. And my mom cooked and my dad maintained the grounds, and that started their camping ministry.
It's good. It was fun.
Yes, it was fun for a time.
Yeah.
For a time. And then we were only there for just a short time, and then we moved back to Ukiah. And my mom finally got her first job. She was a stay-at-home mom. I was a senior in high school, and she got her first job. Do you remember where you worked?
No,
You don't remember?
I hope you do.
I do.
Go ahead.
She worked for a facility called Guadalupe Home for Boys. It's on Fremont
yeah.
Street.
Would you ever take a job called Guadalupe Home for Boys? Think of that.
So she worked in the morning.
Yes, I did that.
She did. She worked in the morning and
brought
she
home
was
a
a kitchen
kid.
manager.
5 in the morning.
So she had learned, through her camping experience to cook large quantity. And so she was able to do this job for Guadalupe Home for Boys. Now, I just need to back up just a quick little minute because it's still going on today, but her and a lady at another camp in Big Bear started this little program called Cooks Advance. When she went to cook for large quantities, you could take your little cookbook and you can, duplicate it a couple times, but you can't duplicate it like 100 times or 50 times. And so things weren't jiving. It didn't taste great, didn't turn out right. It's too dry, too wet, too whatever, happens. And so her and this woman, do you remember her name? I don't. Anyway, but I know she was nice and sweet and you spent a lot of time with her. And they started this Cooks Advance, and they invited all of the cooks on the mountain that used that were cooking quantities. And they worked with some of the large food suppliers like Cisco Foods and Kraft Foods and some of those that deliver to restaurants and to camps and things. And they worked with them to create and use products to make good camp food, because when you first went to camp, it was awful. I always lost 20 pounds when I went to camp because it was terrible and it didn't taste like my mom's and I wasn't going to eat it. And so they've started that, and it's still going today from what I understand, which I think is a great little thing. Yeah. So she did do one thing in her life. That was momentous, and
Glad you finished that sentence.
and really made a difference, not just with Christian camping and in the Christian church world and such. She did do something monumentous in the secular world.
Well, I think something monumental for me was learning to sing with her. We did a lot of singing together.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this away from you just for a second. Because remember, on This Is Your Life, you don't get to talk all that much. Everybody else gets to talk. Okay, so stay right there. We're gonna come back to you and you can finish that, but I want to move this way real quick. There was a young man that was charmed by a new young lady that came to Central Christian Church. She already stole your thunder a little bit, but tell that story. Come on up here. Because the reason I want you to come up here is that there's some folks from out of state, Oregon. Janice and Andrew Sheperd are watching from home this morning, this afternoon. So, hey guys, and then we're taping this so that they can replay this with their family.
We used to actually, talked about the Bar's house being across the alley from the church. And we used to do a little double dating from time to time with them, Lucille and I. And one of the things I remember is one night, neither Bar nor I had a car because our cars had problems. It was bad in those days. A sailor hat, really? No, and I remember I went over to her house. They lived just down the street on Juniper, and she said, "Dad, can we borrow the car tonight? The green one." And I thought, yeah, right. He's gonna let me drive that 55 Chevy. And Max said, "Sure."
That's
my dad. And you know what? Within the last year, I had wrecked the car, my car.
Before that, yeah.
So he still let me drive his car. And so that car was kind of a neat car. He used to let me take it to work with me at night and service it and bring it back the next morning. But I just love driving the car and the station wagon also. But Bar was he was a really special guy. And I used to think about Bar as literally the guy who could do anything. Yeah. And I was always envious. Didn't seem like anything he couldn't do. And he could weld, he could roof. He framed a door for us once, or hung some doors for us once. And he was always looking to help somebody. He really was. He was that kind of guy. And I remember seeing him when I first started at that church. I was 18 already. I wasn't a youngster like these guys were. But when I saw Angela, I remember asking my brother Bill at the church, "Who's that girl that smiles all the time?" Always had a smile on her face. Yeah. But I want to tell you a couple of stories about Bar. This is a tough act to follow.
You may not have enough time.
Huh?
Oh, we got plenty of time. We got plenty of time.
This is a tough act to follow right now. One of my favorite memories, and I have several, but one of my favorite memories about Bar is we go to church, finally, on Lilac Street in Rialto. The Central Church of Christ in Rialto. And this particular Sunday, we wanted to move into it. And the ladies were going to come on Saturday, and we were going to help them. They were going to clean up after the contractors. And on Sunday, we were going to have church there. Problem was, the roof wasn't finished yet. So there was a crew of guys got up there and worked on that roof. And we still liked a lot, and it started getting dark. Well, everybody says, "You know what? It's not going to work. We have to finish it tomorrow." So it turns out the only people that were still up there were Bar and I. And he said, "No," he says, "just wait here." He went to his car and he got a flashlight and he brought it back and he says, "What we're going to do, we're going to take turns holding the light. One of us will hold the light and the other one will shingles." And it was late when we got finished, but we had church there that Sunday. And so, I remember all those times that came were great. Those ones that Gina talked about. The times, even Angela, when they froze the turkeys. They froze the turkeys, the dishwashers froze the turkeys, and when they got ready to fix them, they had these rocks. That was Neva, right? But I remember the retreats. We used to take a bunch of kids from several churches and go. We have retreats at Joshua Tree, at Lynn Helen Scout Camp, different places. And one of my favorite memories of Bar up at Lynn Helen was our youngest daughters were playing together, and they came to the door of the trailer where they were cooking. I wasn't there.
Angie and I were cooking.
And they said, "There's a big worm underneath the trailer." So they would have, look, that big worm had rattles on the back. And they got the guys, my brother Dan and Bar, and they killed the snake. But then that same place, we were out in the brush hunting. This is what I remember about him in this case. We were out in the brush hunting, so picking up firewood. And there was a rattlesnake came in front of us, maybe 7 or 8 feet. And he had a hatchet in his hand to cut wood with. And he Pin that thing to the ground. Didn't have a chance. So, you know, he was a guy that I think could do everything. And he was a guy that was always willing to lend a hand. And, you know, I think he knew a long time ahead of time that he was going to marry him. I think, you know, somebody said that Pope was telling people 3 years before you got married that was the girl. And I think all of those times added up, brought a lot of happiness. And I think he brought a lot of happiness to people. And one of my favorite memories watching Gina get up here and talk was when you and Bar walked into the church on a Sunday morning and you had this tiny little bundle. It was one of the most beautiful babies you ever seen. And it was Gina. And that was a long time ago. But I love you guys. I love you guys. And, thanks for the
Thank you so much.
All right, so those of you who know a little bit about show business know that there's a time when we take a break. So Mary, I'm gonna have you come over here. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Mary, come over here. Okay, we're in commercial break here. You're gonna come over here. Here, Mary, I want you to back up right here where right here. We need music for the commercial break. Okay, come here, this before you get run over. Come here. Before you get run over. Okay, yeah, stay right there. Okay, good.
Right where?
Right there, back. About 3 more feet, right there. Now, if you watch the Tonight Show, you know there's 3 guests that come on, and everybody goes down the set as they go on. Okay, right? So now we're back from a commercial break in 10, 9. You come over here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and welcome back to This Is Your Life. We're celebrating the life of Angela Sheperd. Joining us for the next chapter in Angela's life is once again her daughter Gina Thatcher, ladies and gentlemen. Gina, do you remember? Okay, there's not many in the church family who have been as successful in business and as honored as Angela Sheperd.
Yes. I don't know my line because my paper's on the green room.
It's our script.
Do you remember the special Valentine dinner program?
Perfect.
You remember Angela?
Asking me?
Yes. The special Valentine dinner program.
Yeah, you tell her not to talk.
How many years ago?
That's a few. Okay, so Avalani started because dear friends of ours and some of you, Bill and Carol Pallett owned a curio shop in Oak Glen. And the sweetest couple you ever want to meet, sweetest couple. My mom was working at Camp Eligua at the time. She had finished her job. She actually traded jobs with the cook. The cook at Camp Eligua was taking her job as cook at Guadalupe Home for Boys. So she came, they switched because they needed actually a secretary, but she started cooking at Camp Eligua. So she did cook and secretary at the time. So she was working there, my dad was working there, and they said to her, Angela, we need you desperately. When a bus comes into our parking lot, the restaurant employees turn the lights off and turn the close sign on. We have no business. We are not making any money. We need you bad to take over this restaurant. What do you think she said? Absolutely. So she thinks because, you know, she's just this Wonder Woman, what she is. We all love her and she works hard and everything she does, she makes it look so easy. Yep. She thinks she's going to run this restaurant from her office and be there on the weekends. And I thought, this woman has lost her ever-loving mind. There's no way she could run this restaurant from her office and be there only on the weekends. You have to be there all the time, every day. You have to be there. It runs you. It's a lot of work. You know, we're working in the kitchen, slaving, and I'm thinking, she has no idea what she's got herself into. So I was working at Forest Home at the time, and I said, I'm coming to work for you. I'm coming to work. So I quit my job, and I started working as the manager of the restaurant. But she because she wanted to have this restaurant. She always had a menu in her mind. She had even a paper. She had uniforms for the staff. She had the decor on the walls. So when she took this restaurant over, she knew exactly what she wanted to do. She'd get in there and she'd get herself a little busy. All these cute little decorations she had on the wall, and she had her menu items. She had that all, and she was ready to go in no time flat. They were very thrilled with her because she was open, they were making money. And she was killing herself because it's a lot of work. I don't know if you guys know the restaurant, but it's a 24/7, 365, 16, 20-hour day job. So she did that. Well, she created some fun little things. The one thing we're talking about, the Valentine's, I'm sorry it took me that long to get there. But she thought, what can I do for Valentine's to bring people in? Keep the business going, yada, yada. And so she said, I'm going to honor the people who have been married 50 years. I'm going to have them bring their marriage certificate. You ring a bell?
Yes.
I'm going to have them bring their marriage certificate. They show me the marriage certificate. I'm going to give them a complimentary meal. And of course, you had to have apple pie. And so she did. She made up this cute little area.
And thousands came.
She made up this cute little area. She would take a picture. We had the Insta. You can just Kodak with it. She put it in the newspaper, and the Polaroid. She'd take a picture, and you'd leave with that. Your Polaroid picture and your memory and your full tummy and wonderful apple pie. And then she said, I had no idea that many people were still alive that were there.
See how young they are? Look at this.
They're gonna take your microphone.
So, but it was just a wonderful time. And she did it year after year after year. And the people enjoyed coming and sharing that special moment. She said, I almost went broke over it, but it was worth it, just to see them and share some of their experiences, while you're waiting on them at the table. So that was one thing she did. Another thing she did that was very memorable. This is it. I'm all done.
Is this the last one?
Yeah, I think so. Can you take it? It's a cute little thing.
Is it getting a hot seat up here? Angie?
Yeah, what time is it? I don't want to take off. She did one other thing that really was memorable. She used to do an all-you-can-eat chicken and ribs on Friday nights and had bluegrass band.
Chicken and ribs.
So that started something wonderful as well. They would come and they play some of the people that we went to church with, Scott Wilson, and then of course the Rileys, all the Riley kids and stuff. They all played and we had such a great time. And so that made her think, what could I do at Christmas time? I'm not gonna do bluegrass, so she thought, Dickens, I can do a Dickens thing. So she connected with Esther Glazer. Anybody remember her back in the day with the kind of little theater? She connected with her, and Esther did a cute little quick rendition of Dickens' Christmas Carol up in she called it the Peacock Pavilion. It's called something else different now. It's something else. But they would go up into the, thank you, sorry. Up into the pavilion, they would watch the Dickens Christmas Carol, then they would come to the restaurant for a traditional English Christmas dinner. And she would have my dad come out with his top hat, and they all had garb. She had a costume. My dad had tails. And he would come out at the end with the flaming pudding on the tray. Flaming, honestly. We didn't serve that because no one could eat because there was so much alcohol in it. But, and so they used the same flaming pudding, but we did that for Christmas season for years and years as well. We did, and that was something monumentous as well. She did that at Cromwell's too, when you had Cromwell's and Lady Cromwell.
She remembers much more than I do.
Yes, and she had apple annies and banning as well. So yes, and then I think she repented of.
I repented, yes, I do.
And said, thank you, Lord, for the experience, but
I'm done.
she was done. And Drew, he worked at the restaurant a little bit too, just for a short time.
Yeah,
He went to school and became real smart. So,
Just a little bit, he
yeah,
says.
so
Excellent.
My son.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you so much. We're gonna go to one more commercial break, and we'll be right back with more of This Is Your Life. Wendell, you can go back and sit with your wife. Okay, we're gonna come back. We're on commercial break here, getting the set all squared away here. Yeah. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, quiet on the set, 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome back to This Is Your Life with Angela Sheperd, everybody. Many in ministry have appreciated Angela's wide gifts and her talents, but none more than our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Pastor Don Hinkle.
He just found out about it the other day.
Oh, good. So he doesn't have much info, that's okay.
He lied. I'm glad they're talking about you.
John, did you just slip in just to do this? I thought you were going on a trip.
I am. I did both.
Oh,
Down memory lane.
I'm gonna turn around this way.
Yeah. I have to say, Angela, that the one thing that impresses me, not the most, but a lot, is I sat over there and I watched you able to turn your head all the way. I looked at those pictures. Half of us can't move our head. We're kind of like turtles. And I should start with this.
Okay.
I love you and I love serving as your pastor.
Oh,
I did, and I do. You were among my wife's best friends.
oh, I still love her.
You were one, yeah, don't talk to me like that. You were one of the church's best ambassadors and the Ministerial Alliance's best chef.
Amen.
So that's a list of bests. You were never off duty. Angela would not only volunteer for many things, she would allow herself to be volunteer. And so that was a neat thing, always available. She and I, you and I, served 20 years together. I remember I helped you celebrate your 50th renewal of vows.
You did.
Back where the church used
You
to be.
did. You did.
I helped celebrate Bar's homegoing.
Yes, you did.
We often harmonized and sang together.
Yes, we did.
I did the wedding ceremony for some of your kids
Yes, you
and
did.
I think maybe even some of your grandkids. In fact, I know I did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Is something showing?
No, not yet, but
Not yet.
when we talked about music, you know, you would be sitting in a service. No one had asked you to sing.
Isn't it a beautiful family? Have you? Those are just my kids,
Yeah.
and
You
then
see,
their kids.
I remember for sure I married Spencer's.
Yes.
I think. So,
Spencer, the oldest,
Yeah.
Andrew, that's Far, my darling, that's me in the pink, that's Amy, who's adorable, and that's Gina, my favorite.
Well, sorry, guys.
But I hope, Andrew, you know you're my favorite.
You can have two favorites?
You are.
Everyone is your favorite.
Everyone is my favorite. I always tell
Right.
them, when they leave, I give them a hug and I say,
All right, Don, you better save us here. Get us back on track.
Well, all I would say about at YCC, which is now called Active, which I always thought was kind of intriguing because I always thought we were active. However, it didn't matter what age it was. You had a seniors choir, you worked with the children's choir, and if you were at a memorial service, there was a very good chance, whether you'd been asked ahead of time or not, you would be asked, much like Olin was asked to sing one song, you were always asked to come up and sing a song as well. Whether you had rehearsed it or not, it didn't make much difference.
What's your wife play the piano?
Aldina would play the piano and she would just play it until everybody was gone.
That's right.
And I'd stick around and sing the songs.
That's right.
Yeah, we had a good time and you were a part of that. I jotted down, when I got married again, I found out later that my current wife, Donna, came to your office and asked for your permission to marry me.
She did.
Yeah,
I thought it over.
and finally said yes.
That's good.
Yeah. So I think that we had a time in the life of the church that was a special time. The church had excellent pastors up to where I came along. I enjoyed being there. I watched families grow. I watched the church grow. I had the heart attack there. But I think most of all, I enjoyed seeing families grow and seeing the ability that you had to identify with so many people. I still can picture Angela at the Lawrence Welk Resort, standing in front of the picture or the statue of, I don't think they have that.
No, we don't have that.
Yeah, which is probably just as good. But he's leading, but Angela is leading Lawrence.
Yeah, I was leaving. He needed help. I stepped in.
He did indeed. So those were just some of the things that I recall. You served with me on staff. You supported the work that I felt led to do. And we made some good music
I
together.
was just gonna say that.
Yeah.
What did
I'm
we
glad
sing?
I beat you to it.
What did we sing?
Well, I don't know. Do you remember any of the songs we sang?
No, I have no idea. Why, if you guys would have given me some chance, I could get that all together. And when you come here, it's,
Here, do you remember this one? Shackled by a heavy burden, neath the load of guilt and shame. Then the hand of Jesus touched me, and now I am no longer the same. He touched me, oh, he touched me, and oh, the joy that floods my soul. Something happened, and now I know he touched me and made me whole.
Ladies and gentlemen, Don Hinkle and Angela Sheperd. And we'll be right back with more of This Is Your Life in just a moment.
how long does this go on?
All right, here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Angela's ministry in music was not limited to the church where she regularly attended.
Many times.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dorothy Hurlbert. You got to remember, there's people watching from home, so we want them to see your face.
I'm speaking for Ted today. He wasn't able to be here.
But Ted did ministry after he was not permitted to have a big church and had a massive heart attack. God restored him for 42 more years. And in that time, he helped little tiny churches until they could afford a minister. And we would be at this church in our RV for a year, 15 months, about a year and a half before they get on their feet. And all these little churches, Ted would be desperate for some good music. So he would call Angela and say, Angie, we really need some special music, but I'm way out in Yucca Valley. Oh, that's all right. I'll be there next Sunday. And she would bring a special, and was that
That's how I-
wonderful.
Yeah, by me coming to you guys, I didn't have to help cook at the restaurant. So it worked out really good that way.
And she answered his call many, many times in the small churches in Southern California that he served for 10, 12 years. So he is saying to you, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for bailing me out Sunday after Sunday. And what a special relationship he and Angie had for many, many years.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more nice hand for Dorothy Hurlbert. All right, here we go. We got about an hour left, right? Are you done? No. So I find myself standing in line to honor our special guest, Angela Sheperd. That's what it says right there on the paper. I've served over the years with this gifted and dedicated lady. My life is, I don't need a script, come on. My life has been enriched by this young lady.
I'm not a young lady.
Yeah, you are.
No, that's exactly.
Raise your, how old are you? Just tell them, how old are you?
Seven?
Raise your hand if you're older than 78. All right, you're a young lady, rest in peace. Over the years, I've had the pleasure of working with Angela Sheperd in a variety of different capacities. Like the three of us served together on that staff for 13 years. And that was just, if you think that watching how they sang, that was what we did at the church for all those years. And so what you saw right there was what we experienced for all of that time. And we were active. We were fairly active. We'll call it fairly active. But I can't tell you how many of these that we have done over the years. If we did 11 of them per year for 13 years, I'm not a math major, but that's almost 150. And then you probably did 30 or 40 more with us here at Foothill over the years. So we're no stranger to how this looks. And even though the faces have changed over the years, put that Saints Alive one more time up there. We were looking at these pictures yesterday. And it was amazing to see.
Is that me?
Yeah, that's you. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at those kids.
Look at that. We were struck by how many of those are watching from heaven right now. That was 2013. This picture was taken in 2013, and just eight short years later, a good third of those people are looking down from heaven and watching what's going on today.
Absolutely.
And so not only did you have an effect on all of those people, how many people do you think that you served? How many people do you think that you served over the years? If you could pick a number out of the air, how many people did you serve in ministry, in restaurateuring, in serving in camps? How many people did you serve over the years?
50,000.
50,000 people. Okay, she said thousands would come out on Valentine's Day. And if you consider all of the many hundreds of people who have gathered at the functions at the church and all those things, and so the legacy of the life change that you have left behind is phenomenal. And so often in times, we wait until people are gone before we celebrate who they are.
Yeah, he still needs me.
Still needs you.
We still kind of need to get together
Yes.
and just kind of pat each other on the back, especially him.
Come on. I'll tell you, my most difficult but memorable story of Angie. There was a day back in 2014 when I left YCC. And I'm back on campus and I'm gathering all of my gear because I left a piece of me in all the different rooms. So I was gathering all of my effects. And I ran into Angie in the sanctuary and she looked at me and she grabbed both of my shoulders and she looked deep in my eyes and said, "This isn't the end. This is a beginning. You just got promoted." And here I am. I've never been fired from any job I had in my life. And so I'm in the depths and I looked deep in her eyes and I saw that she was telling me the truth, that our best days were still ahead. And that's what you said. And I will never.
And they still are. Your days, the best of your days, at whatever age you are with the best you'll ever have. And they belong to you. All those times, all those heartaches, all those losses, all the things that we have to put up with through our life, right?
Yeah.
And I do say loss. We all lose things that we love. And so, yes, and I was right about you. Look at where you are. He's dressed up, and I thought he was going to a funeral today. Where is it? Who passed?
It's not every day that you get to pretend to be Ralph Edwards and pretend that you're in a TV show and you're the studio audience. But the legacy that you leave behind, my dear, is represented in myriad different ways today. The way that you served on a church staff, the way that you served hundreds of people meals that they'll never forget. The way that I've played music with Andrew over the years and celebrated life's ups and downs with their entire family. Just to know the legacy that is left behind by you, young lady, for all of us here. And we just want you to know that you are loved and appreciated and cared for and loved more than we could ever express in this time. So ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all of us here at Calamasa Worship Center, thank you for being here for This Is Your Life. We'll see you next time. One more thing I want to share with you. The musical legacy, there's a piece of music that was recorded by Angie and Mary and played a lot of times. I think this piece was done in Africa at one point. As you're going today, make sure that you say goodbye to Angie before you go today. Just give her a high five before you leave. But listen to this piece. I'm going to pray to release us all. And then I want you to hear this piece, and then thank you for being here today. Before you go, let me recognize the entire kitchen staff and those who cooked the meal today. But here, so at the end of the show, it's really appropriate that we would bring, Wayne, bring this, show it to the camera over here. Okay, bring it down here, don't drop it. Oh. Yeah, Here, let me help you. You stand and then grab it back. All right, so Janice is watching from Oregon. Check out, well, I can't lead it down to show you. Washington, okay. So there's the cake. I wouldn't put it in your face, but here you go. Now you present that cake to Angela. Oh, look at that. It says, "Thank you, Angela," on the top of it. Baked with care by Mr. Wayne Hicks, everybody. He baked it himself. And she's licking it, and Thank you for being here. Kitchen staff today, Nancy Dirks was the crew chief today, put all this together. If you helped with this, would you please stand to your feet really quick? All of you guys who helped. And Lisa's back there scrubbing dishes. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much. They cook all day Tuesday morning and they come early to make this happen. And so all this was made with love and care for all of you. Again, couple things. Be back in church on Sunday, okay? 9 o'clock, we're looking forward to seeing you in worship. Until then, would you bow your head and close your eyes? God, thank you. These are your people. They love you. Would you bless them? Would you just extend your hand out to them? Would you allow your Holy Spirit to be present in their life, that they would feel it, that they would know where you're taking them, and that you would fill them so that they would leave this place lifted up and encouraged by what happened here today. Thank you for Angela. Thank you for all the folks who were here to encourage her. God, would you hold her in your hands? Would you never let go? Thank you for all that you've done for us and all that you're going to do. We pray all these things in your son, Jesus' name. All of his children said, Amen.
Amen.
Have a great week. Wendell, bring your top hat. Come here. Real quick.
So many years we spent together. Many years. Still ahead.
All of us in the front. No.